Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the railway. Just a quick video for you today, and this is actually my second video about the Oxford Rail Dean Goods locomotive. The first video came out, it was about a week ago. It didn't end too well because the loco didn't actually work, but I sent it back to Rails of Sheffield and they very kindly have sent me this replacement, which came yesterday on Saturday. You'll see this Sunday if you watch it on the day it came out. And here it is. If you did see the old review, obviously it didn't end too well, as I say, and I'm going to actually take that review down soon. It's going to be still up for the time being, but I'm going to replace it with this video right now. So most of the review that I showed in that video from last week I'm going to include in this video. So if you already saw that, you might want to skip ahead. I might put the time code of where you want to skip to down at the bottom. So for now then, let's roll the review, and after that we'll see how this one runs, and I hope it works. I hope it works okay. Okay, let's have a go. So there it is, the Oxford Rail box, the second time I've ever seen one of these. The first, of course, being the Adams radial tanks. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the end of the box just to show you what this is. So this is code, well, there's a big code there, I'm not reading that out, but it is 2309 Dean Goods GWR lined. And yes, Oxford did offer a few different liveries, I think. I'm not 100% sure what the other ones were, but I decided I would go with the lined one because I think that is the nicest. And it's actually a little more intricate than the other ones, and it's no more expensive, so I thought I would go with that. Okay, well, I'm not going to put this off for any longer, so let's get this sleeve off and have a look inside, shall we? Wow, there it is, inside there. Okay, let's get this out. Right, okay, we've got a little booklet. Right, I'm not going to look at this yet, I'm going to save it. Okay, so this is the Class 2301 Dean Goods locomotive, operation and maintenance. And there you have it. There's a big a few paragraphs really about the locomotive and its history, so feel free to pause that if you can. Most companies put that sort of thing on the box, but actually it's a bit easier to read in a booklet of its own, so I don't mind that. And then inside you've got, yep, looks like the usual sort of thing, so fitting the detail, oiling, fitting decoders, all that good stuff. But yeah, fair enough. Okay, now then, let's get this one out. Can't put it off any longer. Right, take this sleeve off. And I can see a detail pack underneath, so I'm going to grab that first. Still trying not to look at the loco. Okay, so that's a fairly basic detail pack. You've got the brake rigging there, as you can see, a coupling which I think would go on the front, and there's also some very nicely painted pieces there, including a chain link coupling and also a vacuum pipe which has got some gold painting on it there, so that's very nice. Anyway, I really can't put it off any longer, so let's get this out. The Oxford Rail Dean Goods. It's been a long time coming, I can tell you that. Even the packaging feels nice actually. It's not as awkward to open as the Hornby and Bachmann ones. Right. Oof, there it is. The first look ever, for me anyway. Wow, it's quite heavy, got a good weight to it, and it just looks superb. Looks like there's so much detail on that, and for £89.99, what a ridiculous price for something so fantastic. Right, well, that looks absolutely superb, and I'm going to show you that up close in just a second. But first of all, here we go then with a little bit of history on the Dean Goods, and then we'll get to it and have a look at the detail. Okay, let's do it. So also known as the GWR 2301 class, the Dean Goods were introduced in 1883 to the design of William Dean for goods work on the railway. The class was produced for over 15 years, and in that time 260 were built. The class served for several years, and many of them were even sent up to France during the First World War, and some of them ended up in Salonika, if that's how you say it. By the time the Second World War broke out, many of the Dean's Goods locos had been withdrawn, only to be dragged back into service when they were requisitioned by the War Department. 54 of the class survived until 1948, when they were acquired by British Railways, and as time went by they were eventually replaced by the standard Class 2s. And the last was apparently withdrawn in 1957, being over 60 years old. Only one of the class has been preserved though, and the remainder were sadly scrapped. Okay, so there she is, and as you can tell, she is absolutely beautiful. She really is. I've had a chance to look it over, and I must say it isn't absolutely superb, but certainly for the price, for £89, this is just breathtaking. And I also feel certain in saying that if Hornby had produced a model of this calibre, we certainly wouldn't be paying less than £100 for it. I would expect Hornby to have priced something as good as this for £130 to £140. So to be honest, hats off to Oxford Rail for looking after modellers and not ripping them off. You see, they could have easily charged a heck of a lot more for this, but they didn't, and for that I am very grateful. And I think we should all do our bit to support this company because they do deserve it and they're not ripping people off. And I think that's quite rare these days. Okay, so let's have a look at the Loco. It is really beautifully stunning. Let's look at the paintwork first of all, because the paintwork on this is literally extensive. Look at the lining on the boiler and it's perfectly applied. There's no messiness about it. It is beautifully applied. It really is beautifully applied. The wheel arches have the orange lining on them too, which just looks fantastic. And on the side of the cab you have that very, very recognisable Great Western paint scheme there with the running number 2309. Very, very nicely applied. And look, just the little boxes in front of the smoke box, they've got the paint on them. And of course, let's not forget the chimney, or the smokestack, or whatever you want to call it if you're in America. That has been painted into a different colour. I think that is plastic, unfortunately, but they can get away with putting plastic chimneys on it if they're not going to rip people off. That is fine by me. Again, you've got the gigantic dome, which really is a key characteristic of this locomotive, which looks beautiful, very shiny. It is plastic, I think, but very shiny nonetheless. Safety valves there, separately fitted piece it looks like. It is, I think, a plastic piece, not 100% sure, but the parts that are metal are the whistles up on top of the cab there. And as I say, you can tell that they're metal because they've got that lovely shine to them, which is fantastic. So paintwork 100%, you know, 10 out of 10, can't fault it. Okay, let's have a look at the buffer beam. As you can see, it's a beautifully riveted buffer beam, and look, the vacuum pipes are even connected to something, which is very interesting, I think, and it's the first time I've ever seen that. You've got the running number applied there, 2309, very nice, and it does have sprung buffers. Let me just show you those. Sprung buffers, look at that, fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at some of the separately fitted parts then. The smoke box door has the white painted handle, which is very lovely to see. And also the handrail, which goes along the side of the locomotive, is painted into green. It is a green handrail, which is quite unusual. I don't know if it's prototypical, I would assume so, but quite unusual nonetheless. You do have the reverser, just as you can see there, the rod there, which is metal, not plastic. You see, these things don't have to cost £150, and Oxford Rail have proved it. Okay, the cab. Well, glazed windows, first of all, as you can see, that is a very nice touch. And inside the cab, it is just beautiful. All the gauges have detailing on them. You've got the wooden floor effect. Everything is painted faultlessly. I can't fault the cab. It really is beautiful. The only but the only criticism I have for the locomotive itself is the fact that we don't have any of the valve gear just underneath the boiler there. It is a very noticeable area, it is a very visible area, especially when you're looking down on the model, and it is quite noticeable that that is missing. Now, you know, I would say most of the premium models these days do have that if necessary, and this one doesn't, and I think that is the only criticism really. It's not a big deal, but it is quite a critical detail which I think they've missed, but again, for the price, it is still a super loco. Okay, let's look at the tender then, because the tender is really something special. It reminds me of the old Triang Lord of the Isles tender, except of course the detail on this is massively superior to that. Once again, the paintwork is 100% faultlessly applied. As you can see, you've got the beautiful old-fashioned Great Western text there, / logo, which looks superb. And you've got the black and orange lining, which again, just perfect, faultlessly applied. It really is. The underframe detail looks absolutely fantastic. It's very intricate down there, loads of beautiful moulded detail, and of course it's all lined as well in the orange. Up on top, the coal load is okay. It doesn't look all that realistic for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but again, it is probably removable, so if you really didn't like it, you could get rid of it, but for me, it's more than fine. You've got some of these controls here on the tender, which are painted into the silver, which again is quite an unusual thing to see painted. And let's have a look around the back. You can see there are separately fitted handrails there, painted into the white, which is very nice. And just generally a lot more moulded detail. You've got the lamp irons there, and more sprung buffers. So generally then on the detail, there is just that one missing piece, which is the valve gear, but apart from that, it is just a superb model. There are so many rivets on it, beautifully painted. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's also an absolute bargain for the price. Okay, I'm not going to gush anymore because I feel I want to, but I'm going to hold it off because I really want to see this thing run, and I'm sure you do too, although you've already had a sneaky peek, haven't you? Okay, let's do it then. Let's see how she goes. Alright then folks, here we are back at the present time, and this one is the replacement Dean Goods down onto the track. And I've tried to set things up as I did before, so as you can see back up a little way up the line you can see the wagons there that she was coupled to last time. Hopefully she'll be able to pull these today, I'm really hoping so. Okay, so here we go then, straight out of the box again. Let me just turn the controller on, see what happens this time. A little bit of a buzz. And look at that. Oh yes, this one's perfect. And backwards, let's see. Has she gone out of shot there? Yeah, just about. Yeah, that is much, much better. Oh, lovely. Perfect. Right, oh no, she's not quite in the middle. I'm a bit OCD like that. Okay, so to that particularly rude little group over on RM Web, told you so. Sorry lads, but I have been doing this long enough to spot when a loco is actually faulty and when a loco just needs running in. Thank you very much. And I did not want to see my controller go up in smoke and flames. Thank you very much. Right, let's have a look at this one go again. So could it possibly be that silly little juvenile Sam on the carpet knows what he's talking about? Nah, I'll never claim that. Don't need to. Okay, let's go up to the wagons. Yeah, no amount of running in was going to fix that other loco when it was as bad as that. Right, well I can't see whether she's actually coupled, so I'm going to hope she has. And yes, she has. Okay, well, let's get her running then. For a first time around the layout. Oh, that is lovely. Okay, I'll show you the others then. It is the same ones unfortunately, but oh well, we can watch them run, can't we? Okay, so just coming around the curve then we have the lovely Hornby Star. Pulled out of retirement again just to give us another quick run. A few Great Western coaches there, and on the inner line I'm just going to start the Colic class. I can't remember what she pulled last time actually, it's a bit worrying, it was only a week ago. So I put some box cars on the back of there, some Smith's ones and the Prime Pork. So let's have a little running session then with these, and I will also give you my updated ratings. And that's her running at around half speed on the controller, so as you can see she runs very nice and slowly. It's a nice controlled speed. Of course locos back in the 1800s weren't flying around like some of the, well, like the Star for example, even though I think that one's 1800s as well, isn't it? So it's quite realistic, and also very nice to have a very nice controllable and quite steady slow locomotive, and that's just what we've got. Running very, very happily, as you can see. There's the Star class. Now she is quite quick inherently, and she always has been, but that's okay because she still can do a nice crawl, but you've just got to be a little more steady on the controller. But here comes the one we're all looking for. Up Gordon's Hill. Yeah, faultless. Faultless from the moment I first put her on the track, and that's exactly what you want, and that's exactly what you expect. Oof, I'm getting a pong from that Oxford, no not Oxford, mainline Colic class. Quite an old motor in there though, it does let off a bit of a bouquet once in a while, but it's okay, still runs well. And now for my updated ratings then on the Oxford Rail Dean Goods. Now those brave enough to post a critical comment on my channel very correctly pointed out that there are a couple of inadequacies in the accuracy of this loco's detail, so I've downgraded that to an 8 out of 10, but the detail itself is still pretty good. Performance, now that it is running much better, I've given it 8 out of 10. It would have been better if it ran perfectly first time, but still not a bad score there. Character, 9 out of 10. I love the character of this loco and I think it's gorgeous. And again, the build quality seems to be pretty solid, so 9 out of 10 there. Value, again, for £89, that is very good value, especially for a working model, so 10 out of 10 there. Overall then, that puts her in a much better place of 8.64 out of 10, which ranks her 13th, just above the Hall and below the Evening Star. Well, that one really is miles better, and I do really hope you've enjoyed seeing her run today. I know I have, and it's a bit of a relief for me actually, so yeah. Very nice loco, do love that one, and if you did enjoy the video as well, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment, and if you'd like to, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter pages, and those are at facebook.com/samstrains and twitter.com/samstrains. But for now, those of you who are still here, thank you so much for all your wonderful support. I do truly appreciate it, and thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you very soon. Cheers everybody. And before I go, folks, just a little thing to add on to the end. Rails of Sheffield are absolutely brilliant. They sent me a replacement without any questions asked, and I do really appreciate that. So check out Rails of Sheffield, they are very, very good.